Hi, this is Bob Byman. This is a third in a series of 4 commentaries for the Men's Golf Major Championships in 2011. This week, the British Open was played at Royal St. George's. We had a very deserved, very popular champion in Darren Clarke. A very gratifying and emotional victory for this 42-year-old. His 20th appearance now at the British Open, 19 times not even coming close, and finally coming through. Darren Clarke, man, what a performance this week. He is perfectly suited for a high wind, low ball, all sorts of weather kind of situation, and the golf course and the weather were exactly that this week. I actually played in the 1985 British Open at Royal St. George's. This golf course is super tough in the wind. We played it and it seems like it blows every time there. And to hit the ball the way he did was just incredibly skillful. Now, this guy has one of the finest swings over the past, really, generation. Now, he has really not performed as well as his swing would indicate he might. This week he was able to put his putting together at least for 3 out of the 4 rounds. The first round, the second round, the fourth round, he putted quite well. The third round he did not putt all that well, but he hit the ball so darn beautifully that round. One of the finest ball striking rounds I've ever seen while leading a major championship, and was able to come in with an even par and stay in the lead. So, you know, you look at the reasons of why this guy went ahead and won the tournament. You have to look at his attitude, number one. I mean, what a beautiful guy. You have to love this Darren Clarke. He's just, you know, a people's man. He's friendly. He's highly competitive. He gets highly focused, but just a great sportsman and always looking out for his other competitors. Just a wonderful example of what golf is all about and what it should be. Very proud of him. You look at the attitude of the 2 out of the top 3 players, both of them over 40 years old, Phil Mickelson and Darren Clarke, just savoring the moments, savoring the challenges that the British Open in particular. Every shot dictates that you have to be in order to play well. So, fantastic to Darren. Now, what can the average guy and even really good players learn from what Darren Clarke did this week and what he generally does most of the time, just about every time he does play well? Number one, you look back in history, you'll never ever see during a windy British Open anybody win the British Open that doesn't have an upbeat tempo, an upbeat rhythm. Okay? You can go back from the beginning of the British Open. Now, you look at Clarke, you look at Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, you look at Thomas Bjorn, Ricky Fowler. All these guys have upbeat rhythms. It's extremely important in high wind situations. Basically, you know, technically, centrifugal force and inertia are extremely important for repetition in the golf swing. Inertia states there's 2 parts of it. If something is still, it tends to want to stay still. More importantly for golf, if something is in motion, it wants to stay on that same line, in that same plane, unless a force acts upon it. If you have a slow swing, then high wind situations can blow you all over the place. All these guys have upbeat swings, and it allows the club to cut through space the way it normally does. Really, I only saw a couple situations for Darren the entire week where his swing was affected negatively by the power of the wind. So he did just a great job. He's a sturdy guy. He has a beautiful motion. Now, look, there are some basic things that all good players do, all great champions have done over the history of the game. One of these things is they have a great looking starting position, which Darren does. He stays in motion. He moves a little bit to the right. He goes 75-25% to the right. and then he goes 100-0 left. And he does that beautifully. He stays nice and level through the ball and then comes up at the finish, which takes a lot of pressure off of his body. And he'll be able to play as long as he wants to play, because there's nothing in that swing that puts any particular negative pressure on his body. You know, I understand by watching the telecast, I've watched quite a bit of it, that one of his mantras during the tournament was, don't let golf determine your attitude, rather let your attitude determine your golf. Now you have 2 out of the top 3 guys, over 40 years old, lots of experiences, have been through life's experiences, and both of these guys are happy and smiling and enjoying, savoring the moments and challenges that the British Open brings. It's very, very refreshing and a great way to play golf. We can all learn from that. The other thing that I want you to understand, golf is a lifetime pursuit. It is not an easy game. 20 times now, 20 times, 19 failures, 20. Never, ever, ever give up. Keep working, keep feeding fundamentals into your game, and enjoy the process of getting better. Now, the last thing I want you to all notice is that Darren did something a little bit different today than he has in some other tournaments that I've seen him do. Most basically, and also coincidentally, golf at its highest level can be described as imagery, feelmagery, set up, and then let it go, make it happen, go ahead and do it, whatever is needed to make things work for you at that moment. Imagery, feelmagery, set up and go. Imagery, feelmagery, set up and go. You'll notice that Darren would stand behind it, he'd take a little practice swing in his putting, or he'd get right up to the ball, and without any delay, go ahead, right in there and make it go. So that is golf at its highest level, and that's golf at its most basic as well. We can all learn from that. Don't dawdle over the ball, stay in motion. This is Bob Byman for the 2011 British Open. Congratulations to Darren Clarke.